Well, this week I spent a little bit of time. I went to Las Vegas. I was invited to go to a conference where we were having a gathering of our North American pastors together with ACLC. For those of you who don't know ACLC or don't know us so well, these are our mainstream Christian pastors, clergy, bishops who work with us to try to spread the word about true parents, the blessing, many different things. And these are really amazing people from all walks of life and all denominations. You've got Baptists, you've got Pentecostals, you've got all kinds. And they're just really, really amazing people. We are not a traditional church. And not everybody sees us from a positive light. And many of these pastors have really gone out of their way to work with us and sacrificed in many cases. And I find them to be really amazing people of God. And the purpose of the workshop or the gathering was really to kind of adjust our outlook on these Christian pastors, to recognize that they may have a lot to learn from us, but we also have a lot to learn from them. And I think that there was a lot of really good testimony and really good perspective shared. It actually made me reflect a lot on my own life growing up. Some of you know, growing up in Wyoming, in Casper, Wyoming, we didn't really have a local family church up there. And so if we wanted to come and participate in something like this, we had to drive to Denver. It was a 4.5-hour drive. So obviously we only did it for special occasions. And in Casper, Wyoming, we did many, many different things. Sometimes we had church in our home. Sometimes we would visit a local church. And I was remembering many different experiences, of which I really have to give credit to my parents for providing for me. But I was just remembering just the opportunities that I had growing up. For example, I went to Catholic school, and up through middle school, and I as part of going to Catholic school, I often went to Mass. And if you've never had an opportunity to go to a Catholic Mass, I recommend you try it. It's a special experience. If possible, go to one where it's a Gothic type building with really high ceilings and stained glass. That's going to give you the full experience. Some of the modern Catholic buildings are kind of, they just don't have that same effect. But I really loved going to Mass, actually. I don't know why. I know not everyone has that experience. But I really liked it for some reason. I don't know if it's because of my Catholic ancestry, but I really liked the choirs, the songs, the organ, the music, just the ambiance, the stained glass, everything. I really liked it. And I felt kind of comfortable there. When I was older, I went to a non-Catholic Christian school. I don't really know what the proper word for it is. And there I had a really different experience where I got to meet, when I was in Catholic school, I didn't meet too many of my peers who were very interested in religion or God. Most of them were just going to school, and it just happened to be a Catholic school. But going to the Christian school, I met many people of my age, 16, 17, 15 years old, who were very deeply religious and spiritual, and they took their life of faith and their relationship with God very seriously. I would come out of class, and I would see somebody sitting in the hallway, a fellow high schooler, reading the Bible. I would hear testimonies from them how desperately they were trying to witness to their own parents to become Christians. a 15-year-old trying to teach their parents about Jesus. Very not what I expected, and not what I experienced anywhere else. But it was a very good experience for me, because it showed me that I don't have to be an adult to seek for a relationship with God. I don't have to be an adult to dive into and study God's word. I can do it as a teenager, as a middle schooler, or whatever. And that really left a strong impression on me. These were really, really sincere people, many of them. Not all, many of them. At one point, I had the opportunity to go on a missions trip, and I went to Mexico, to Juarez. And this missions trip group, they had this relationship with this orphanage down there. And every year they went to the same orphanage, and every year they did a new project, and this was a very interesting place. It was kind of like a half-built orphanage, because I don't know exactly what happened, but somewhere along the line there wasn't money to finish the building. And so it was a half-built building. So there would be like concrete parts of buildings without windows or floors or anything. And some parts were done. And there was 50 orphans living in this property, and very, humble conditions. And every year the missions group would come, and they would bring money, and they would bring us, the workers, and we would do projects to try to make it a little bit better every year, to, put in some flooring, or pour a new concrete thing here or there, or, try to, because we didn't have a lot of money ourselves, but just little by little try to get to that, finish point where they can have a really nice place for themselves. And that was a really impactful experience for me too. We also went around and passed out Bibles. We did a revival where we just sang and prayed and played music for 4 hours. And that was a very meaningful experience for me. And I had many experiences like this in my life, whether it was also going to the Pure Love Alliance, or going to Camp One Heart, or going to having friends invite me to go to their youth group, and so I would go to their youth group. Or my dad, at one point, he started a church with a I had a picture and I forgot to put it in there. Darn. Oh well. If you want to see the picture, you can ask me later, I guess. Anyway, I have this picture of when my dad was running a church together with this Christian pastor. Can't remember his name, but it was called the New Beginnings Christian Ministries, right? Or New Life, New something. New Beginnings, I think. New Beginnings Christian Ministries. And that, I don't know how long it lasted. It wasn't a super long-lived church, but that was also a really meaningful experience for me growing up, and getting to meet and spend time with all different kinds of believers. And some people are really quite strange, but really good-hearted people who are just trying to do the right thing and just love God, and they love Jesus, and they want to live, in that faith. And it's really beautiful. And, I was reflecting on all this during my time in Las Vegas, because so much of the focus was around, people's relationship with Jesus and their Christian experience. And I was just remembering all the experiences I had. And I kind of came to realize, I had a lot of really great experiences like this that helped me to really understand the Bible and Jesus as a young person. And that has really impacted my understanding of who true parents and the divine principle are today in a really good way, I feel. And it reminded me of the value of your experiences and your environment growing up. Experiences that, we as parents, we want the best for our children, and we want to give them great experiences in our home. But the reality is, as children get older, we have more and more experiences outside of the home. And whether that's at school, or at church, or with our friends, or through, we didn't really have social media so much at the time, although I do remember like chat rooms and AIM and AOL and, MySpace and Zanga, of course. Zanga was like the OG. Actually, I heard they're trying to bring back MySpace, but, Yep. So that was like the beginnings of social media. But now social media is a big part of life in a lot of ways for a lot of people. And a lot of our environment and experiences that we have happen outside the home. And so the places you go, the people you spend time with, all of these things have a really large impact on us, many times more than we realize. So I'd like to take a minute now and just share a video. This is the parable of the sowers. And so it's Jesus sharing a parable. And I thought about, well, we could just read the whole thing, but I think sometimes it's nice to do something different. And so we're going to watch a video of a reenactment of this.
Behold, the sower went forth to sow. And when he sowed, some seeds fell by the wayside, and the fowls came and devoured them up. Some fell upon stony places, where they had not much earth, and forthwith they sprung up, because they had no deepness of earth. And when the sun was up, they were scorched, and because they had no root, they withered away. And some fell among thorns, and the thorns sprung up and choked them. But other fell into good ground, and brought forth fruit. Some 100-fold, some 60-fold, some 30-fold. Who hath ears to hear, let him hear.
Why speakest thou unto them in parables?
Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven. But to them it is not given. For whosoever hath, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. But whosoever hath not, from him shall be taken away, even that he hath. Therefore I speak to them in parables. Because they seeing see not, and hearing they hear not, neither do they understand. And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Esaias, which saith, By hearing ye shall hear, and shall not understand. And seeing ye shall see, and shall not perceive. For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and should understand with their hearts, and should be converted, and I should heal them. Blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. For verily I say unto you that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see, and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear, and have not heard them. Hear ye therefore the parable of the sower. When anyone heareth the word of the kingdom, and understandeth it not, then cometh the wicked one, and catcheth away that which was sown in his heart. This is he which receives seed by the wayside. But he that received the seed into stony places, the same is he that heareth the word, and anon with joy receiveth it. Yet hath he not root in himself, but dureth for a while. For when tribulation or persecution ariseth because of the word, by and by he is offended. He also that receives seed among the thorns is he that heareth the word, and the care of this world and deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and he becometh unfruitful. But he that receives seed into the good ground is he that heareth the word and understandeth it, which also beareth fruit, and bringeth forth some 100-fold, some 60, some 30.
Okay, so I hope that you were able to understand what he was saying. I know that's Old English, and I don't know if the volume was loud enough, but basically Jesus, he's speaking to these people, and he's talking in parables. He's talking about how a sower or a farmer is planting seeds, and the seeds that are planted on the rocky soil, they don't take root, and some seeds are planted in a soil where there's a lot of weeds, and they sprout, but the weeds choke the seeds, and then the sower plants the seeds in a fertile soil, and those plants grow, and they're very fruitful, and they multiply 100 times. And then the disciples are like, why are you talking to them like this? why are you speaking in parables? Why don't you just speak plainly to them about what you're trying to convey? And he's saying something along the lines of, not everyone who is listening is hearing what I'm saying. People who they see, but they're not seeing. And so I think what he's saying is that there's not always a fertile soil for his words to be able to take root. So he has to speak in a way that people will understand. But he says, you're lucky. I can speak plainly to you and you'll hear. Which is funny because sometimes he gets frustrated at them for not being able to understand what he's saying. But I think that the disciples, because they spent so much time with Jesus, they at least had some greater understanding of where he was coming from. But even Jesus is saying that he has to consider who he's speaking to and what foundation they have to hear what he has to say. Even Jesus can't just throw out a bunch of seeds, like speaking to a crowd of people, and expect that it's going to bear a lot of fruit. Some people might get inspired by it, but it's short-lived because they're too focused on other things in their life. Some people may just not have any foundation to hear it at all, but maybe some people might do something with it. So I think that in reflecting on my own life and reflecting not just on the past, but even now, it's meaningful to take these words to heart. That where will I put my effort? Where it's going to bear fruit? And how much the environment of our life matters in the fruits of my life. When we don't have the fruits that we're looking for, maybe there's an opportunity there, like Jesus is saying in the parable, to look at the soil, to look at the weeds that may be in my life that really preventing God's seeds from bearing fruit in my life. I think this is a big part of the reason why Adonia and I have spent so much effort to focus on the environment of the church and the environment of the community. it's been very important for us. We've recognized that we can't go into somebody's life, somebody's family, and undo the things that have been done. We can't change the realities. We can't fix the problems. But one thing we can do is to create an environment where people can feel empowered or encouraged or supported or be given the tools to improve their own lives, to improve their own families, to seek a deeper relationship with God, to find a way to serve in a meaningful way. I want our church to be a place where people can come and let go a little bit of the stress and the worries and the things that weigh us down in life, because there are so many. We look at the world, the news, our relationships. We're bombarded by it constantly. All the problems of the world, problems in our own life, we can't run from them. They're staring us in the face all the time. We need a place where we can take a breath and relax a little bit. Church isn't the only place for that. There's many good places for that amongst wonderful friends and family, in nature. But the church should be a place, in addition to those things, where we shouldn't have to be on guard. We shouldn't have to put on a face and try to act like life is good when it isn't. If life is good, then that's great. But we shouldn't have to feel like we should put on a face for the sake of others. To be a place where we have a lot of goodness. People don't have to worry that somebody's going to gossip behind my back or kick me when I'm down or talk badly about me or judge me unfairly. Nothing's perfect. Similar with the YAMI, the hope of starting YAMI was to create a place for young adults to be able to have an environment where they can safely experiment with what it means to be an adult. They don't have to just be plunged into the deep end and figure out everything themselves, but they can do it safely and maybe make some mistakes along the way. That's kind of part of the deal. My time in Vegas reminded me of how important my environment experiences were for me growing up, how valuable they were in shaping the person that I am, the faith that I have. So if you have children or young or teenage children or grandchildren, please don't underestimate the impact and the importance of these environments and these experiences have on a person. If our church isn't a good enough environment for your kids, I give you permission to go find a better one. It's really not about keeping people here. They should be where it's the best for them. This is a quote from our true mother. She said, "I have sometimes said that we need to create a good environment. In a good environment, when you say one word, those listening to you will understand 10 words. The same can be true for us. When the blessed families create such an environment for themselves, they will be able to witness to others with the littlest of effort." I think this is a really interesting point that we don't talk about enough, and how much our environment and our culture affect the receptivity to goodness and to God's word. We tend to focus a lot on action and doing and responsibility, and those are important and those are good things. But I think that if you were to remember a time when you really felt God, or you had a really deep experience of some kind or deep realization, then there was a lot of circumstances that surrounded that moment. Probably a lot of things that led up to that moment. That was probably the right moment for you to have that experience. That was the right moment for you that God could reach you. God could touch your life in some way. God was probably waiting for that moment. God was waiting for that moment when where God knew that if he revealed himself to you or spoke to you or impacted you in some way, that would stick, that would be meaningful for you in that moment, maybe life-changing. We often, in our impatience or desire for things to happen when we want them to happen, try to make things happen in our timing. We want people to recognize their mistake. We want our kids to learn the lesson we want them to learn when we want them to learn it. We want our business to take off or our career to be successful when we want it to be. But one thing that I think, one of the things, probably many things that we can learn from this parable is that there's not always the right soil all the time. It's not always the right moment. And God is patient. God is patient. God is waiting for that moment when we are open to receive it. Then God will reach us, touch us in our life. So if God is patient and God doesn't force himself, his will, his desires on us, then I think there's something valuable about that. There's some lesson to be taken away from that, in that we may have things we really want in life, or we may really want somebody to hear what I have to say. But sometimes we have to be patient and seek for, pray for, look for the right moment when the person is able to hear what we have to give, receive what we have to offer. If God has to wait, then it probably not out of the realm of possibility that we might have to either. But as God waits, God doesn't give up, God doesn't get discouraged, God doesn't blow us off, God doesn't forget about us. And so same way, things might be discouraging sometimes, but we shouldn't give up either. Patiently wait for the opportunity, work to create the right environment, and then take it when we can. So my message today is pretty simple. I really wanted to just share some of my experiences and reflections from my time in Las Vegas. I hope that there was something there that was valuable for you. And I think that I would like to keep working myself on creating an environment where God can work and where, like True Mother said, you say one word and people will understand 10 words. I really believe that's true. When the environment is right, then a little bit of effort goes a long way. But when the environment is not right, when the culture is bad, then you have to make a lot of effort to reach people or to keep people, retain people. So this is just something that I think is, we don't talk about enough, but hope that can have some value for your life, and I will offer prayer. Good morning, our dearest Heavenly Parent. Heavenly Parent, I just want to thank you for my life and for every single person here. Heavenly Parent, they are here because of you, because you have reached into our lives in a moment and we felt it, or we felt it through another person, or we felt it through something, Heavenly Parent, that you created. You prepared this beautiful world for us and this environment for your children, Heavenly Parent, and you are always looking for the opportunity when the time is right to touch our lives, Heavenly Parent. And because you did, we are all here. No matter where we came from and all our walks of life, we're all here at this moment, Heavenly Parent, because of you. You brought us here. And you have a hope for each and every single one of us. It was not for no reason. And I pray, Heavenly Parent, that as we look at our lives, to see how much you worked to reach us, worked to touch our lives, and to bring us to this moment, Heavenly Parent, is really, truly humbling. And many times we look at our lives and we remember things that happened that we had forgotten. And realizing again and again and more that you were working in our life, and then we forget. And we don't recognize, and sometimes we complain and blame. Heavenly Parent, we want to invite you to work even more, to be even more present and visible in our church, Heavenly Parent, through the people, through the environment, through everything, Heavenly Parent. My hope, Heavenly Parent, is that you can be felt in every corner, every aspect of this place, Heavenly Parent, that we can work to make that happen. Heavenly Parent, how much you want to be able to be known by your children, be in a relationship with your children, and we are often not interested. And I pray that we can grow in closeness with you and in gratitude to you. I thank you, Heavenly Parent, for this time that we could be here together. So grateful. And I offer this service to you and offers prayer on behalf of all of our blessed families represented here. Amen and Aju. Thank you.